Next special character will be a dot. By typing a single dot after, let's say, certain command, I'll just exit bash. Oops. Let's say if we type in cd dot, cd stands for change directory. It changes directory. You can see your working directory by typing in pwd. This is print working directory. This is where you are at the moment. And if I did this ls, I would see what is in that directory. If I did it ls la, list all, so don't hide anything from me, you can see that there is a dot and that there are two dots. Two dots is a previous directory, and dot is the current one. So if I cd dot, that means that I've just literally entered the same directory where I am now. I know, sounds strange and weird, but so it is. But if I type in cd dot dot, I will go back one directory. And this can also, dots can also be used as destinations, not just by moving one step backward. This is like when moving files from one directory to the current directory with the move command. Or we can, for example, copy some things from one directory into another. And we can do this. Look, you might think that dot is pointless, which represents the current directory. But no. For example, if I did this, cd home chronic documents bash course videos, and I don't know. Let's just go ahead and copy that one. Sorry, not cd. cp is for copy. And since it's a directory, we would like to do, well, I don't really want to do recursiveness. So how would you copy this into a current directory where we are now? What would you do? Would you basically type another path to where you are now? Does this look simple to you, or is it simpler to just press a dot, to just type in a dot? So this will effectively copy this into this. This is probably not the proper form of the command. You would need a recursive option here to copy everything under this directory, but that doesn't matter. I could basically do this as well. What is this? This is a wildcard character. I will talk about it in a moment, but you see how dot can be useful. I mean, it can pretty much shorten the command by a very, very large extent. So we will be using it at some point of time in the bash later on, most likely through some examples, but there isn't really much to it. I just wanted to show you one of the ways in which you can use it. The next special character is a partial quoting or a double quote. Partial quoting will preserve most of the special characters within a string. Partial quoting is used when referencing some sort of a variable we want to replace with some sort of a value of that variable. So I know it seems a little bit of abstract, but let me just go ahead and give you an example. Let's go back into our file. And are you serious? Nothing in here. I must have opened up a new one. Okay, there we go. So vim first.sh. Excellent. So now I know that I'm in the right file. Linux is case sensitive, so for example, name and name are two completely different names just because of the capital letter. Anyway, so we will declare a variable colors, basically this colors, and we will make it equal to a string which composes out of three. We will make it into a string which has three parts to it. Let's put it like that. It's all one string, but we will use space to separate it. So black white. And you see if I did this, echo, where is it? There we go. Oops, I misspelled that. Colors, and here, colors. Let's write this down and run it. You see, it prints out. Oh, it prints out red, black, and white. If you're wondering why hash has been printed out here, it's because I pressed it on the keyboard while I was executing. So it prints out the whole string, but we're gonna do something with it now. Let's go ahead and delete this. Now we're going to use a for loop, like this. For col in space $, colors. Now col is a col. I could have named it something else. I'm just using this as a short version of a color. So col is a variable to which values are assigned. Values in the argument list, and this is the argument list. The argument list can be a lot of things, but for the moment we're using this string as our argument list. So this variable that we're going to utilize here as an argument list will be looped through. So it will take red and black and white. God. White. My spelling is just amazing. It doesn't matter which keyboard I get. I don't know. I pretty much always get it wrong for some strange reason. Anyway, these arguments will be red, black, and white, and they will be listed through with this variable. So, first case col will become red. Second time around, well, not first case. First time around, col will become red. Second time around, col will become black. Third time around, col will become white. That is the idea. In each iteration, the col will take the next value from the list. So let's go ahead and begin the loop and see what actually happens. These things are, when you explain them, they seem pretty abstract and strange, but then you see them run in action and things become a lot clearer. So echo, and then well actually I don't need this, just col. So when you have a single thing like this, most of the time it won't need quotation marks, but if you have like spaces and something else, it's a lot safer just to put the quotation marks like this. So I'm not going to put it in this particular example, but I'm pretty sure that I will begin putting them from this point on, as it is a lot safer. Just in terms of errors, you know, sometimes you'll get an error and you won't know why it is, but it's just because you missed the quotation marks. So this is the loop. This is the loop scope. This begins the loop and this finishes the loop. The loop is done when when we reach the end of the scope. So let's go ahead and do this. Right. So you see, red, black, white. It just goes one by one and they are listed out. But you cannot appreciate how simple Bash is until you have created some sort of a code in C or C++ or something like that. When you start creating code there and you come to Bash, you know, you only then begin to appreciate just how much is it simplified. But then again, Bash, when you write something in a Bash scripting language, it's about 1,000,000 times slower than when you write something in C, so the program runs a lot faster. Anyway, so we haven't placed this in any sort of quotes. You see, we are primarily talking about quotes here. But if we modify this code by putting our variable colors within double quotes, the output will not be the same at all. So let's go ahead and try that and see what is going on. Okay. Right? Huh. What happened? It's red, black, and white in one line. Why isn't every statement in a different line? Well, let's have a look. In this particular example, the for loop, there is only one iteration. So there's only one pass. There's only one time that this loop will occur. It won't go 3 times like in the previous one. The double quotes that we have placed here from left and right, they are here to prevent word splitting. So this will not be split as 3 separate words, as though it was some sort of a string array, but rather instead it will be used as a single word. So all of these 3 will be placed into this, and that will be echoed out. So you have 3 of them in the same line. I know it seems like it has went through it 3 times, but believe me, nothing of a kind has happened. This was just a single pass, while above you have it passed 3 times. And that would be the significance of the double quotes. Next character in line is a single quote. Unlike partial quoting, it preserves all special characters within string. Full quoting, for example, does not permit referencing variables. What we have done just now, so referencing over here, referencing a variable. It interprets everything that is enclosed with single quotes, literally, except for, of course, again, the single quote. I have, let's see if we can actually do a demo here. Should get the same result. Shouldn't get the, actually, sorry, quite the opposite. We shouldn't get the same result. You see? This is what I mean. It does not allow for referencing the variables at all. Not gonna happen. It just takes this as it actually is, what we have written. It's not taking the value of this. It has no relation to this of whatsoever. This is just pretty much like echoing this word out. So we have basically placed what we have written on the screen into this variable, and then we have printed that out onto the screen, and that is exactly what you see down below. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it isn't. But there you go, a simple enough example. Next character in the line is a comma separator. Basically, it links together a series of some sort of arithmetic operations, let's say. They are all evaluated and taken into consideration, but only the last operation is actually returned. So let's go ahead and see how this works, and let's go ahead and see what I have just stated, because I have a feeling every time I say something, until I actually show it, it's completely useless, because it doesn't mean that much. It's difficult to put code into words. It's so much easier to just present code as it is. So let's go ahead and type in let. Let is a command that performs arithmetic operations on variables. So we just say let, and we use the double quotation marks that we've just seen. And we're going to say that y is equal to, open parentheses, open parentheses again, x equals, I don't know, 20. And we're going to say comma, which we're using, so we're separating them, space 10 divided by, I don't know, 2, let's say like this. And then we're going to go ahead and close the quotation marks. Basically, we have set x to 5, and we have set y to 10 divided by 2. Let's go ahead and see what will actually occur here with a comma. Okay. My apologies, I forgot to close the quotes. This time I did actually forget about it. Nothing. Why? Do you believe that nothing has happened? Of course not. Well, maybe you believe it, but that's not the case. We just haven't printed anything out to the screen. So just because we don't print something out to the screen, that doesn't mean that the operation doesn't perform itself in the background. So let's go ahead and echo something out. Let's go ahead and echo y. Oops. Excellent. It's 5. So what do you suppose out of these two is 5? What is 5 here? Can you just conclude it by looking at it? Is the value of x 5, or is the value of y 5? So even though we have stated that y is equal to this and then comma to this, only the last one will be taken into consideration in this manner. We will see how this comes to be useful later on in the course and how does this perform. But you see why is it important for me to show you? Imagine if you saw this somewhere in the code and you didn't know what this comma meant. You would not be able to effectively read the code. You would just spend time looking for it on the forums. And I know it might seem boring now that I'm explaining it separately like this, but believe me, it does have meaning. There is purpose to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. We no longer need this. The next character that we will use is a double comma, basically. I know it seems strange. That is used in lowercase letter conversion. So let's go ahead and take a look how that works. Pretty much you just type in some sort of a variable. I don't know. We'll just use a reference. We'll just use something that I've named var. Let's name our variable so, and let's assign some sort of a string to it. What shall we assign to it? Okay, DSL Nation, and let's just convert this to just some random letters to capital letters. Excellent. So now we have a string that is composed out of lowercase and uppercase letters. Now we would like to change the first character to lowercase. How shall we do this? Well, echo space. Again, this $, open curly brackets, type in var, and then type a comma. This is also another use of comma. Let's go ahead and write this. Execute it, and you see it converts it. So DSL connection. The first letter is actually lowercase letter now. The first character has actually been converted to a lowercase. Now, what we would like to do is change all the characters of this word of this string into lowercase characters. Well, insert. Just double comma. That's it, right? There you go, DSL connection. So we have converted it without any bigger problems. This can be very useful when manipulating files and sorting things out. These bash scripts can be invaluable. Okay, so I'm running a bit out of time. I'm gonna call the tutorial here, and I'll see you all in the next one.